Hello, my name is Melissa Babcock, and I will be discussing Claudette Colvin and her story today. Most people have heard of Rosa Parks and the momentous acts she did on that bus, but what if there was someone else who did this first? Some background. Claudette Colvin grew up in segregated Alabama in the 1950s and experienced the horrors associated with this firsthand while growing up. In a quote from her, she says, quote, "There was segregation everywhere. The churches, buses, and schools were all segregated, and you couldn't even go into the same restaurants." End quote. She even had a friend who was killed for taking a liking towards a white girl. She wanted to get the best education possible and pursue a career towards fighting for civil rights, and she learned a lot about this in school as well. The bus. On March 2nd, 1955, at the age of 15, Claudette Colvin's life changed forever. She got on a bus after school to get home, and at one of the stops, several white people got on, and the driver told her and three others to move to the back, even though there were available seats in the front for the white people. While the other three got up, Claudette stayed. She refused to leave her seat. This led to her being arrested and charged with violating segregation laws, misconduct, and resisting arrest. Keep in mind that all of this occurred 9 months before Rosa Parks did the exact same thing. The aftermath and how Rosa Parks fits in. After Claudette was arrested, this quickly drew the attention of leaders like Martin Luther King, Jr., who came down to Alabama when he heard about this. She even filed a lawsuit, and Colvin's attorney tried to get her case to be a test case against segregation for the NAACP, but they opted out of using it for many reasons. One was her age. This was an issue since they didn't think that teenagers could be reliable. She also had a rather dark complexion, and they didn't feel like this would put her in a good situation in the case. She also became pregnant a few months after the incident. Rosa Parks was the secretary at the time for the NAACP, and they knew each other since Parks mentored her after her arrest. Parks was a suitable choice rather than Colvin for the NAACP's potential case against segregation. This was due to the fact that she was educated, lighter-skinned, a seamstress, as well as being older and a part of the NAACP. On December 1st, 1955, 9 months after Claudette Colvin, Rosa Parks was arrested, just like Colvin, for refusing to leave her seat on a bus. This is where the two stories become a little different in aftermath, as boycotts of the Montgomery buses started in the Black community. Conclusion. A year later, in 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the bus segregation must end. Afterwards, Colvin became a nurse and moved to New York, where she didn't share her story and part in the civil rights movement with many people. Overall, I do not think that this knowledge takes away from the impact of the story. They both stood up for themselves and did what they thought was right. In the end, a change occurred and the bus segregation ended. So this was a good thing, regardless of whether or not Rosa Parks just recreated it for the NAACP's test case. My question for the class is, do you think that other people like Claudette Colvin, who started a change but were forgotten, or do you think that there are other people like Claudette Colvin who started a change but were forgotten and didn't receive the credit they deserve? And then these are my sources.